Hey, let's talk about it a little bit. So let's review the Pisen LCD power station, the 20,000 milliamp battery station that has two USB inputs and the light shining where it is. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. You can see it a little bit there. An LCD screen, hence the name LCD power station. I like it. There's that. Let's get the money out of the way first. I bought it at $22. It was on sale. It's normally $40 or so. There is, if I'm not mistaken, a version that has USB-C instead of two USB-A ports. I believe that one is 46 or 48. That's not much more for the USB-C. Might be worth getting if you're willing to spend upwards of $50, but that is, I guess, the going rate for these things nowadays, especially at 20,000 or so milliamp. I don't know that you're paying much more for the LCD. Maybe worth it to you, maybe not. I think it's a nice feature to have. The lights, if you see, the most of the ones that I have like four indicator lights, and that does a pretty good job of telling you how much power you have available to you. But I do like having that percentage. It also has the battery indicator, but that I've never really liked that. It's basically like having three lights is what that boils down to. But I do like the battery indicator. Now, what I've noticed using this is, the first thing I did is I charged it up fully and then just let it sit there. Only for a week. I probably should have tested it in this case for a month. But in doing so, there is no loss. It's still set 100% after sitting for a week. And then at that point is when I started using it. And over the course of 2.5 days, I have some little percentage notes here. When I first used the power station, I charged my phone, which is an iPhone XR, and my watch, Apple Watch Series 2. The watch was at 50%, and the phone was at 65% that first day. Why does that sound not right? I think what I'm looking at here might be the second day. Yes, this was the second day. So the first day, my watch was around 40%. It doesn't typically go below that on a regular usage day for me. Because the phone, I'm fairly certain, was at 24% or something like that, in the 20s. And when I used it for both of those devices, the next morning when I got up, and I get up fairly early, between 3 and 4, and I don't remember what time it was that day, but that's give or take an hour or so of charge. This thing went down from 100% to 74%. So that gives you an idea of the usage. Again, my watch was about 40 or so. My phone was about 24. So I wasn't getting a full charge from both the watch and the phone. And it took about a quarter of this usage here. Now the next evening that I plugged my devices in, this is where my watch was at 50 and the phone was at 65%. I don't always use the phone a lot. And it says here I also charged my iPad Pro. I have, again, some notes I'm looking at here. But the iPad Pro, I'm pretty sure I did the next day. I don't have listed here. Yes, I do. When I woke up in the morning and got up, unplugged everything, it was at 51%. So down from 74 down to 51. From 74 down to 51. And then when I plugged my iPad Pro in, 12.9 2017 model, it was at 32%. It being the iPad Pro. Again, this started out at 51% at that point. It did not, at that point, completely charge the iPad Pro. Now, it may have, if I would have let it go, continue past 7%. Once this thing got to about 7% is when I kind of called it quits. The iPad Pro didn't get to 100, it got to 94%. Now, if you think 7%, 94%, maybe I could have, they would have matched and I would have got 100% out of my iPad Pro charge. I didn't want to do that to this battery. Brand new, probably wouldn't have affected it too much, but I didn't want to do that. So I almost got a full charge from 30-something% back into my iPad Pro 12.9. That's a good sized battery in there. So I don't have any doubt that this would charge the iPad Pro fully. I know it will charge the phone fully. Again, I went from 24% or so up to 100% and just used 74%, or remained at 74% here, used 26% of this, and that included charging the watch. So that gives you an indication. It's not perfect, but it gives you an indication of how good this is. And other batteries, it's not just that this is amazing. It's a 20,000 milliamp battery, so you'd expect it to be able to charge those things. And it did. It gets my thumbs up. Is it worth $40 to $50? That's up to you and your budget. I got it at approximately half the price. That sale is no longer going on, by the way, so it's currently in the $40-some range. If you are in the market for a battery, I think this is equivalent to the Anchors. The Anchors used to be great batteries and other products at great pricing, but now their pricing has caught up with the market and their, what's the word? When people want stuff and they go get it. I can't think of the word. Anyway, so now they're no longer the inexpensive, I don't want to use the word cheap, the inexpensive version that they once were. I'm speaking of Anchor products. So this Pisen, I think that's how you say it, Pisen, battery station, LCD power station, 20,000 milliamp. It's a pretty good product. I say it's a buy. Thanks.